Welcome back to my channel for this week's Human Design Transit Report. And today is Monday, September 25th, and the new transit starts on the 27th. And we've got a big shift in energy that happens. So let's go ahead and dive in. So in the transit that we're currently in, we are in the G Center. Okay, so this is the Center for Love and Lovability, Identity, and Direction. And if you haven't had a chance to watch that one and you want to find out what's happening today and tomorrow before the change on Wednesday, you can go here and watch my last week's transit report to find out. As of Wednesday, the sun is going to move into the gate 18 and the earth is going to move into the gate 17. And both of these gates are in the logic circuit or the pattern circuit as it's been renamed in quantum human design. So these are left-brained energies. They are focused, they're analytical, they're strategic, they are great supports for planning and, for projecting things into the future based on what you know now. And it's really kind of focused energy, okay? And we like to think of this, we tend to think of this as like the thinking mind, right? The part of us that is more analytical. And it is the part of our knowingness that the culture generally sees as valid, whereas other ways of knowing is not so much. So these may be familiar to you, and we'll dive in and explore. So if you take a look at the chart, you'll see that the left brain is lit up here with the 63 and the 4. And we don't want to pay too much attention to the 63 because the moon's in it, and the moon is only there for a number of hours. But then we also have the 4, which is on the Ajna center, but this is the beginning of that logic circuit. It's going to come in here, cross over the Ajna, and then come out over the 17, which is what the earth is lighting up. So there's a lot of activity up here in the upper centers. And the gate 4 is known as answers in traditional human design or possibility in quantum human design. And this revisioning of it in quantum human design, I think is really important because this idea that we're just going to get some inspiration that comes in and have the pressure on it, that it's going to give us answers, is more than is necessary. So the 4 serves us better and is better served by really focusing on that possibility, because possibility opens things up. The need for answers tends to close things down. So as we're getting this energy coming in through the left brain that's going to come over to the 17 is known as opinions in traditional human design, or anticipation in quantum human design. So let's unpack this for a little bit. So opinions, right? Like if you're receiving from that logic circuit and you're, kind of not sure what's coming in and you're demanding answers, then you might have an opinion about it, right? That's kind of how the energy moves. But if instead you are curious and you're looking for possibilities, then you might have positive anticipation that's coming through that 17, because it's like, what's coming in, right? What's coming in? So it's important for us to have more flexibility and openness and receptivity in the logic circuit or the pattern circuit than we often experience. And that it is not about how the energy is in the chart per se or necessarily in your field. It's about how we're conditioned to experience it and express it. Because unfortunately, the kind of open curiosity and delight in studying the living world, which is what started a lot of scientific study, it become much more kind of focused in, much more judgmental, much more dry and didactic. It's not really infused with that mystery of the great unknown that the living world is, right? It doesn't have that kind of devotional quality that it could have. And so we see that, and what we want to do is we want to be able to kind of release our left brain from that kind of cultural conditioning, because of course we need our left brain, right? We need the parts of us that can focus in that way and can really study something, and analyze something, and be strategic about it. Like, we need that part of us, but we want it to be open and receptive and flexible, and not to get really closed in, right? We don't want the focus to get like this, right? We want the focus to be more like this, and that it's somewhat open. So the 17, like the 4 that I was just mentioning, are both on the Ajna center, okay? And the Ajna center in human design is not the same as the Ajna center, the Ajna chakra in the chakra system. It's not the same. The Ajna center in human design is much more of the thinking mind, the analytical mind, and where the qualities that we find in the Ajna chakra are much more up in the head center. So for those of you who might be going, wait, how do I interpret this if you already know about the chakra system? So this Ajna center in human design, when it's defined like this, and if it's defined in your chart, it tends to be pretty certain about things. It's like, I have a sense of certainty, and that can often lead to the need to be right. So you want to watch out for that. And you can imagine if the 17 is in its kind of shadow expression of opinions, right? I'm going to give you my opinion whether you want it or not, right? That how some people will just steamroll you with their opinions, right? That is much more of that kind of tight, closed in, I'm certain, I know my point of view is correct, kind of an attitude that can come with that defined ajna. So with the earth lighting up the 17th, we're going to be grounding ourselves in the type of expression that we choose with the 17, right? So ideally, my recommendation to you is for you to be cultivating a sense of positive anticipation. Now, in the kind of world of manifesting, right, positive anticipation is a huge benefit. Because when we have positive anticipation, we're creating an energetic blueprint for that which we desire. We're creating that with our intention, with the excitement that comes with this positive anticipation, right? And we're kind of pulling things towards us as we do that. So positive anticipation is much more empowering, actually, than opinions. Opinions, particularly when they are used in a way to try to dominate or control a conversation, a person, a situation, it's not particularly helpful in terms of manifesting because it's really kind of locked in. You've decided you're in charge. You want to be in control, right? That's kind of tightening things in. Whereas if you can be in positive anticipation, you're stretching out into the unified field and placing into that unified field your desired outcome. And when you add positive anticipation and you build up your emotional energy so that anticipation is like enthusiastic, then you're much more likely to call things to you, which as a generator or manifesting generator, you then get to respond to. Or if you're a projector, you get to call in invitations. Or if you're as a reflector, you get to kind of feel into, what is that for me? And how can it come in? And, our manifestors are good at manifesting anyway. So, but positive anticipation is good for no matter what your type is, right? Because it's basically letting the universe know that which you're focusing on and what you're delighted to imagine coming into your world. Then the sun is lighting up the gate 18. So the gate 18 is known as kind of a gnarly gate. And the 17 can too, just for the reasons I just described. But the 18 can be a gnarly gate. So it is on the spleen. And it's not because it's on the spleen that it's gnarly. It's more because it can be a pretty intense energy. It's known as correction in traditional human design and realignment in quantum human design. So let's unpack this a little bit. So correction. Corrections are good if you're an editor or an accountant, somebody who works with numbers, or if you're somewhere in a role where making sure things are orderly, making sure that, the numbers add up, making sure things are spelled correctly and they're in their right place. It can be really good for all of that. But there's an edge to the 18 very often with people, and it kind of comes across like you're correcting them. So you want to watch out for that because nobody wants to be corrected, right? Think about your own behavior. Nobody likes to be corrected unless they've asked for it. Because there are times when you might be like, I handed my manuscript to the copy editors and I'm like, please correct my manuscript because I can't see it anymore. I can't see if there's a word missing or there's an extra word or whatever it is, right? I can't see. So that's why it's good to be able to hand it off and have it be corrected. But I asked for that. I wanted that. This was something that I elicited from others, right? It's not something that was projected onto me. So the gate 18 can be a great ally when we are aiming to bring order to things or we're aiming to have things, like I said, add up. Like I said, it's logical, right? So it likes that kind of thing. But the thing to watch out for in your communication is if there is this kind of sense of, or this tone. So a lot of times it's even the tone, not even the words. That's like, well, it's like this. Like, didn't you get that? Or it's right there, or can't you see that? Like that kind of energy. I have a really good friend who has the 18. Sometimes, like, it's not the word she says. It's like there's this edge to how it comes across. It's very interesting because we have talked about it a lot, and I'll just be kind of like, ouch. And she'll be like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to like assert my 18 on you. But there's other things. Like, actually, I saw her packing her suitcase last time she came to visit because she was going on a trip and she was going to go to 3 different places and she just had a carry-on. And so her bag was meticulously packed. All of the different types of items had their own little zip bag, right, that you could see through, not the plastic ones, but the mesh ones. You could see everything that was in there, and it was all completely organized. And I remember watching her and saying, I'd love to see your gate 18 in action. And she goes, oh, is that what that is? I'm like, absolutely. You're just absolutely. I'm like, I would never, ever take the time to do it the way you did it. I do not have the 18 and I'm not that logical and I'm not that orderly, But for her, like having everything laid out like that, it's almost kind of like a Virgo energy, right? It just feels really good to her, right? She's just like, oh, it feels so good. So while the sun is transiting the 18, watch out for that kind of edge that can come out both in your own articulation, but what you might receive from others. And be looking for, how are we bringing things into order? How are we realigning patterns? How are we creating patterns that really work? How are we noticing if there's an error, right? An error, something that we agree is an error that we then want to correct, right? Bring into alignment. So it can be very, very useful. I know I'm going to be using this to be working on my accounting because I don't love my accounting. I need to do it, but I don't love it. So it's great when I have something transiting the 18 because it's going to help me to be able to do that work that I need to do. So one of the things you might look at is, are there things that you haven't gotten to? Maybe you're not that much of an orderly person and you're like, I could really use that help to get that done and do it. Right? This is one of the huge benefits about knowing about the transits is you can actually know, if you know this information ahead of time, you can kind of be like going, what could I use that energy for? What could I have positive anticipation about? So I could juice that up. That's where where the earth is, right? Or how can where can I use this ability to bring things into alignment, to create order, to correct things that are wrong, right? Or where there's an error. Right? So there's a lot of benefit in this. You just want to make sure that it's not coming out with a flavor and a tone of judgment, because it's very easy with both of these gates for that to happen. And if you find people in your life are expressing this with that tone, try to have compassion. They don't know probably about the sun and earth transiting these gates, right? And they're just being stimulated to express a certain way. So that's another reason to know about the transits is that it helps you not to fall into the pitfall, for example, of being offended or being angry or upset because somebody is trying to correct something or they have a big fat opinion and they didn't warn you about it, right? You can just be like, transiting. Okay. You know what I mean? Take a breath, ground yourself, and don't take things quite so seriously. It's almost time for another Ask Me Anything free session that I offer once a month, first Thursday. So it's going to be a week from Thursday. And this is your opportunity to share your chart with me and to really ask me anything that you want to. You can ask about something about your chart. You can ask about something about human design in general. I may or may not be able to answer it because I don't know everything for sure. You can ask about deconditioning. I love talking about deconditioning. You can ask for coaching. It's totally fine. I love being able to offer this as a service to my community. And the link to register for that will be down in the description. And if you're already a member of my Becoming Sovereign Quantum Retreat Center and Global Community, then all you need to do is go and RSVP in the menu on the left that says upcoming events. And I will look forward to seeing you then. Okay, many blessings. Much love.